I had only been gone for 30 minutes, and I never expected to come back to find the HOA team breaking into my property. The moment I saw them trying to force their way inside, Karen's reaction was absolutely unreal. That instant, I knew I couldn't just stand by silently. This wasn't just a minor confrontation, it was a battle for my land and my boundaries. I had barely returned from a short 30-minute break when the most shocking scene awaited me. At first, it seemed like a regular day, calm, uneventful, nothing out of the ordinary. But the moment I approached my property, my instincts screamed that something was terribly wrong. The gate, which I always make sure is securely locked, was slightly ajar. My heart raced as I walked closer, each step heavier than the last. And then I saw them, members of the HOA, moving with a sense of entitlement as though they had every right to be there. I could hardly believe my eyes. They were literally breaking in. Karen, the infamous HOA member who had caused me endless frustration over the past months, was at the forefront. Her face twisted in a mix of determination and panic as she tried to force the door open. There was no hesitation, no subtlety, just raw intrusion. In that split second, the reality hit me like a punch. These people thought they could enter my property, take what they wanted, and walk away without consequences. That thought alone ignited a fire inside me. I didn't have the luxury of hesitation. Every second counted. My mind raced as I prepared to confront them. I knew that standing by silently was not an option. If I did nothing, the consequences could be severe. My property, my rights, my very sense of justice was being violated, and I couldn't allow it. I took a deep breath, grounding myself, and stepped forward. My presence alone seemed to cause a momentary pause among them, but Karen quickly recovered, her eyes narrowing in disbelief. "Who are you to stop us?" she demanded, her voice shaking with a mix of anger and fear. That question, meant to intimidate, only fueled my resolve. I knew exactly who I was the owner of this land, and I had every right to defend it. I stepped closer, locking eyes with Karen, and made it clear through my stance and words that I was not to be trifled with. The situation quickly escalated. They were not going to leave peacefully. The HOA members tried to push past me, thinking sheer numbers could overwhelm my determination. But I was ready. Every move I made was precise, calculated, and deliberate. I intercepted their attempts calmly but firmly, showing them that I would not back down. The air was thick with tension, a dangerous energy that could have erupted at any moment. As I fought to protect my property, I noticed the panic growing on Karen's face. Her previous confidence evaporated, replaced by confusion and disbelief. She had always acted as if rules and boundaries were optional, as if she could manipulate situations to her favor. But now, she faced real resistance, real consequences, and the realization that I was not someone to be underestimated. Watching her falter gave me a mix of satisfaction and a sobering reminder of how serious the situation had become. Every movement mattered. I couldn't afford mistakes. My mind was a whirlwind of strategies: how to de-escalate without letting them gain ground, how to assert my rights without provoking unnecessary danger, and how to maintain control over a situation that had the potential to spiral completely out of hand. Each HOA member had a role, and I had to anticipate their next moves. It was a mental chess game, but one played with high stakes and real consequences. The hours, or what felt like hours, of confrontation blurred together. I was constantly on edge, muscles tense, senses heightened. I could hear Karen shouting orders, but her voice lacked the authority it once carried. The others moved cautiously, unsure how to react to my resistance. I realized then that the power dynamics had shifted. This was no longer their intrusion, it had become a test of courage, strategy, and determination. And I was ready to win. At one point, Karen tried a desperate move, attempting to grab something from inside my property. I blocked her, my voice steady but firm. "You are not taking anything. Leave now, or face the consequences." The firmness in my tone seemed to shake her further. Her attempts at intimidation failed, replaced by visible frustration. She was losing control, and it was evident to everyone present. In that moment, I understood the broader lesson hidden in this intense encounter. It wasn't just about physical confrontation, it was about asserting boundaries, defending rights, and refusing to be passive in the face of injustice. Karen and the HOA believed that rules were malleable and that my absence, even if just for 30 minutes, gave them a window to exploit. But I shattered that illusion. My presence, my resistance, and my unwavering stance made it clear that I was not someone to be trifled with. As the confrontation continued, I noticed subtle shifts in their behavior. Hesitation replaced aggression, uncertainty replaced arrogance. I had successfully turned the tide. They were now reacting to me, not the other way around. Each time they attempted a move, I countered it with calculated precision. It was exhausting, mentally and physically, but each second of effort reinforced my resolve. I was protecting more than property. I was protecting my dignity, my rights, and my principle that no one can violate your space without facing consequences. By the time the HOA members began to retreat, it was clear who had won this battle. Karen's expression was a mix of disbelief and anger, and though she tried to mask it with authority, I could see the cracks. They had underestimated me, and the lesson was undeniable. My confrontation was not just about stopping a break-in, it was a demonstration of strength, courage, and the unyielding spirit required to defend what is rightfully yours. Reflecting on that moment later, I realized how crucial it was to remain calm under pressure. The ability to think strategically, act decisively, and maintain composure in the face of intimidation made all the difference. This experience taught me that true power is not about aggression, it's about control, clarity, and unwavering commitment to your principles. Karen and the wall learned that lesson the hard way, and I emerged stronger, more confident, and more prepared for anything that might come next. In the end, Keynote 1 is a story of vigilance, courage, and standing firm. It is a reminder that when your rights are challenged, hesitation can be dangerous, but decisive action backed by strategy and confidence can turn the tide. Karen's shock in the HOA's failed intrusion became a powerful testament to the fact that no matter the odds, defending what is yours is always worth the fight. The moment had arrived when the true intensity of the situation became undeniable. The HOA members, led by the ever-arrogant Karen, believed they could simply step onto my property, assert authority, and intimidate me into submission. They had clearly underestimated not only my resolve but also my awareness and readiness to confront them. From the very first step I took onto the property, I made it abundantly clear that I would not allow their audacity to go unchallenged. As I stood there, facing Karen and her team, I realized that this confrontation was about far more than just a physical boundary. It was a test of wills, a clash of principles, and an unspoken battle for respect. Karen's face, which often carried a smug sense of entitlement, now showed cracks of disbelief and panic. The realization that I was not afraid, that I would not yield, was slowly dawning on her. Each glance, each hesitant movement, betrayed her inner turmoil. She had planned this intrusion meticulously, or so she thought, but nothing could have prepared her for a forceful resistance from someone who truly understood the stakes. The tension escalated rapidly. As I blocked their attempts to gain control, I could see Karen struggling to regain composure. Her usual commanding voice faltered, giving way to shaky, uncertain commands. She tried to rally her team, urging them forward with an air of authority, but the hesitation among the HOA members was evident. Their confidence, which had initially seemed unshakable, was now faltering under the weight of unexpected resistance. I realized that their strategy was unraveling in real time, and the power dynamic was shifting decisively. Every move I made was deliberate. I calculated my positioning, my tone, and my actions to ensure maximum effect while minimizing unnecessary confrontation. This was not reckless aggression, it was strategic defense. I anticipated their every maneuver, predicting how they might try to bypass me, and countering each one with precision. The HOA members began to realize that brute force alone would not succeed against someone who was vigilant, aware, and prepared. Karen's frustration grew visibly with every failed attempt, her panic intensifying. One of the most striking moments during this standoff was observing Karen's reaction to the shift in power. Her composure, which she often wielded as a weapon, was crumbling. She was clearly unprepared for resistance that was not just physical but also psychological. Every confident gesture she made was met with calm, measured opposition. The realization that her authority could be challenged so effectively shook her to the core. It was a powerful reminder that arrogance often blinds people to reality, and that underestimating someone's resolve can lead to complete failure. As the confrontation dragged on, I remained focused on my goal, to assert control over my property and demonstrate clearly that intrusion would not be tolerated. I spoke firmly, issuing warnings that left no room for misinterpretation. "You are on private property. Leave immediately," I commanded, my voice steady and unwavering. Each word carried weight, a reminder that I was fully aware of my rights and prepared to enforce them. Karen's attempts to counter with verbal intimidation failed spectacularly. Her voice, once commanding, now trembled, betraying the realization that she had underestimated me completely. The mental aspect of this confrontation was just as intense as the physical. Every decision, every action, had to be carefully considered. I couldn't afford rash moves that might escalate the situation dangerously. I had to maintain control, not just over the immediate conflict, but over the psychological environment of the encounter. Each time Karen attempted to assert dominance, I met it with calm resistance, subtly forcing her to question her own authority. It was a psychological game, one where strategy, patience, and unwavering confidence were the most powerful weapons. At one point, Karen made a desperate move, attempting to manipulate the situation to regain control. I intercepted her action calmly but firmly, maintaining my composure despite the chaos around me. The expression on her face, shock mixed with frustration, was telling. She realized that her usual tactics, the ones that had worked against others, were completely ineffective here. Her attempts to pressure me, to intimidate me, were futile against someone who was resolute, aware, and strategic. This confrontation taught me an invaluable lesson about human behavior and the nature of power. Authority without respect is fragile. Aggression without strategy is ineffective. And arrogance, no matter how confident, is vulnerable when faced with clear, unwavering resistance. Karen and the HOA had assumed that their plan would succeed because they believed in their authority, but authority alone cannot overcome courage, intelligence, and preparedness. I became a living example of that principle in action. Throughout the encounter, I observed the subtle shifts among the HOA members. Hesitation replaced aggression. Doubt replaced confidence. Each failed attempt to force their way in reinforced my control and authority. Karen's panic was contagious. It spread through her team, weakening their resolve. I realized that the key to overcoming such situations was not sheer force, but composure, strategy, and a firm understanding of one's rights. By staying calm and decisive, I had turned the tables completely. The final moments of the confrontation were a testament to the effectiveness of strategy over brute force. Karen, now visibly shaken, tried to salvage her dignity, but it was too late. Her team had lost faith in the plan, and the aura of control they once carried was gone. I had successfully transformed what could have been a chaotic, dangerous situation into a demonstration of assertiveness, strategy, and rightful defense. The HOA members were retreating, and Karen's expression spoke volumes: shock, disbelief, and an unspoken acknowledgement of defeat. Reflecting on Keynote 2, the experience underscored the importance of preparedness, mental acuity, and unwavering confidence. The battle was not just physical, it was psychological, strategic, and emotional. It showed that even the most seemingly powerful opposition can crumble when met with calm, calculated resistance. Karen's failed intrusion became more than just a confrontation. It became a lesson in courage, strategy, and the importance of standing firm against those who seek to overstep boundaries. In conclusion, Keynote 2 is a story of strategic confrontation, mental fortitude, and the power of preparedness. Karen and the HOA believed they could assert authority without challenge, but they learned firsthand that true strength comes not from aggression, but from clarity, strategy, and unshakable confidence. This moment was a defining one, a demonstration that standing firm, thinking strategically, and defending your rights can turn even the most threatening situation into a triumph of will, intelligence, and courage. After the intense standoff with Karen and the HOA, I took a moment to reflect on everything that had happened. The confrontation wasn't just about a single intrusion, it was a profound lesson in defending one's rights, asserting boundaries, and standing firm against those who think they can overstep without consequence. Karen's failed attempt to intimidate me had revealed much more than just her desperation. It showed me the importance of courage, strategy, and mental clarity in the face of adversity. The experience underscored a vital principle: true strength is not measured by force alone, but by the combination of awareness, composure, and decisive action. In those moments when Karen and her team tried to manipulate the situation, I realized that panic and hesitation could be contagious if not checked. By maintaining calm and control, I was able to project authority and confidence, effectively turning the entire situation in my favor. Every move I made had purpose, every word carried weight, and every decision reinforced my position. Standing up to Karen and the HOA taught me that defending what is yours requires more than just reacting, it demands strategy. I couldn't simply respond impulsively or allow emotions to dictate my actions. I had to anticipate their moves, understand their motivations, and stay one step ahead at all times. That level of focus and determination transformed what could have been a chaotic confrontation into a controlled, victorious stand. Karen's reaction throughout the encounter was telling. She had relied on assumptions, overconfidence, and the belief that her authority would go unquestioned. But the moment she realized that I wouldn't yield, that I was prepared to defend my property and my principles, her composure collapsed. Watching her lose control reinforced an important truth: those who underestimate others often pay the price when they encounter someone with conviction and strategy. Moreover, this confrontation highlighted the psychological aspect of standing your ground. It wasn't just about blocking access or physically preventing the HOA from entering, it was about asserting dominance through confidence and decisiveness. Karen and her team initially believed that aggression alone would suffice, but they quickly learned that intimidation fails against someone who is both mentally and strategically prepared. By projecting calm authority, I had effectively taken control of the situation without unnecessary escalation. The retreat of the HOA members marked more than just a physical victory, it symbolized a triumph of principle over entitlement. Karen's failure demonstrated that even those who appear powerful and assertive can falter when faced with resistance grounded in awareness, rights, and courage. This moment reinforced a crucial life lesson: it's not enough to react to challenges, you must anticipate them, prepare for them, and meet them with unwavering confidence. Reflecting further, I realized that Keynote 3 also serves as a reminder of personal responsibility. Standing up for your rights is not passive, it requires action, vigilance, and clarity. If I had hesitated or underestimated the situation, the outcome could have been very different. But by staying alert, thinking strategically, and taking decisive steps, I not only protected my property but also sent a clear message that overstepping boundaries is unacceptable. This confrontation, intense as it was, also strengthened my understanding of leadership and resilience. Leadership isn't about dominating others, it's about making firm decisions under pressure, inspiring respect through action, and maintaining integrity even when challenged. Resilience isn't just enduring hardship, it's actively confronting threats and turning potential setbacks into opportunities for assertion and growth. In facing Karen and the HOA, I had to exercise both in full measure. As I look back, Keynote 3 encapsulates the broader takeaway of this entire experience: courage combined with strategy creates power. It isn't about seeking conflict, it's about being prepared for it, knowing your rights, and refusing to allow intimidation or arrogance to dictate the outcome. Karen's inability to achieve her goal was a direct result of my preparedness, decisiveness, and unwavering resolve. In conclusion, this experience with Karen and the HOA was a defining moment. It reaffirmed that defending your space, your rights, and your principles requires more than reaction, it requires planning, strategy, and confidence. Karen's defeat was not just a personal victory, it was a lesson for anyone who might consider overstepping boundaries that courage, clarity, and preparation will always prevail over arrogance, entitlement, and reckless aggression. Keynote 3 is the story of empowerment, of asserting your authority, and of demonstrating that when you stand firm for what is rightfully yours, even the most audacious opponents can be stopped. It's a reminder that resilience, strategy, and courage are far stronger than intimidation and entitlement, and that protecting your space is always worth the fight.